Teletoon podcast features a trip to that galaxy far, far away, Lego style. See Noah take his drop of shame and go behind the scenes of G.I. Joe Renegades.
Hold your position.
Get me some ginger ale.
At your service, Lord Vader.
Bring him to me.
Yes, Your Highness.
this is my webcast.
Watch full episodes, exclusive clips, and bonus content from your favorite shows. What are you waiting for? Go now to Teletoon.com.
Awesome!
Okay, I guess I should have seen that coming. Clearly, Ali Drago was threatened by my superior mental agility. I'd be flattered if I wasn't hurtling towards the Earth in a budget parachute. Thanks again for that, Chris. At least I'm finally free of that slimy eel. Ugh, okay. That wasn't so bad. But eels? Ah!
Don't you hate it when the living take over your space? If only there was a way to clean them out. Now there is! It's the handbook for the recently deceased. Annoying seances? No problem. Inconvenient remodeling? No more. With the handbook, you can clear those lousy living out once and for all. Order now and receive Undead Bride magazine completely free. Only 50 easy payments of soul. Act now. Catch Beetlejuice Saturday night at 7.
Superfan Friday is mine. The time has come for the villains to take their place at the top, and I'm giving all of you the chance you need. Cobra Commander, end the interference of those renegades once and for all. Excellent idea. Will the heroes be defeated? Will the unknown villain stay forever? Find out every Friday this month, starting at 7.
Hasbro Studios and The Hub are teaming up to make sure that the heroes who never give up will be there with a brand new series. Everyone's favorite characters are back, facing dangers you have never seen before.
The action is sick. It's off the chain.
And this show is one of those shows where they're gonna like fall in love with the Joes and even the bad guys and want to know what happens next.
We will make sure his sacrifice was not in vain.
When you look at our show, it looks like nothing else.
G.I. Joe Renegades.
G.I. Joe, fighting man from head to toe.
For more than 40 years, G.I. Joe has been the favorite of kids of all ages. The first true action figure that introduced children to a new kind of adventure.
I've been a fan of G.I. Joe for a long time.
I loved G.I. Joe back in the day.
I don't know anybody who doesn't like G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe attack! Boom, boom!
I grew up with the tall figures and the G.I. Joe Kung Fu grip and the beard and even the talking G.I. Joe.
I've got a tough assignment for you.
Do you remember as a kid the G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip coming out?
And that was when an action figure was an action figure. And, you know, that's the G.I. Joe I remember.
Every day after school, we'd go up to my friend's attic, and we would actually do the whole like salute thing. And as like initiation for it, we had a G.I. Joe club. So that was our initiation: listening to the theme song, saluting, and then we'd take the action figures and go off and play with them.
The first time you get a G.I. Joe figure in your hand, you immediately start coming up with scenarios in your head. And I very clearly remember the commercials and the play sets. It really was a pretty important part of my childhood.
Yo, Joe! He'll fight for freedom wherever there's trouble. G.I. Joe is there.
G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, which is the show that I watched and I loved and I grew up on. I was one of those kids sitting on the couch, flipping through the channels, looking for G.I. Joe. Loved the reruns, still love the reruns now.
Real American Hero was just the start for G.I. Joe. Over the years, many incarnations have followed. Most recently in a live-action film. But G.I. Joe Renegades takes us back to the origins of G.I. Joe.
With the 80s show, we were just kind of thrown into the universe. Here you get to kind of see how it starts.
This is the first time these characters are meeting. This is the first time we're discovering things about their skill sets.
And suddenly they're in a situation where they have to trust each other.
I can't believe I let you talk me into going back there.
We throw them into one vehicle, we set them on the road, and all forces are against them.
There is the small matter of the renegade soldiers.
I trust you'll handle them with your usual efficiency, my dear Baroness. In fact, I command it.
They've been singled out, accused of this crime they didn't commit. They're criminals. But really, they're the guys we should be trusting.
All the Joes are someone that everyone can really emulate and admire.
These guys are heroes. They're so far beyond anything I could ever imagine being.
So many boys can relate to these characters, these men who are honorable, who want to do the right thing, who are heroes.
You care about what happens to them. You want to see them succeed, and the more the deck is stacked against them, the more you're rooting for them.
Is he all right? He's in shock. Roadblock, keep him back!
Everyone's favorite characters are back with a bold new look.
The G.I. Joe Renegades are Duke, who is our leader.
Duke is really good at taking charge. Duke is really good at assessing a problem and solving it immediately.
He's strong and confident, but also he's humble. He's just got that it factor that makes you believe he can get the job done.
Scarlett, much more intellectually driven when there's something that she perceives needs to be done.
She's just no nonsense. She's very tough. She has this need to take down Cobra.
When it comes time to choose somebody, to hunt down the Joes, Flint is the one who's chosen.
Well, Flint is a military man through and through. If there's the job that needs to be done, he's the man that he feels should be called, and he won't stop.
He's pulled one of Duke's old friends, Lady J, into service to help him catch Duke.
She does have to sometimes pretend that she is purely on Flint's side. Ultimately, Lady J is sort of the inside source for the Joes.
Roadblock and Tunnel Rat for us are a little bit of our comic relief. Both very good at what they do. Roadblock is a big bear of a man with a heart of gold.
Roadblock is good with electronics, and he's great with fixing any kind of motor.
Tunnel Rat's a field medic. He's got some herbology skills, and he's sarcastic all the time. And it's his way of sort of keeping sense of the situation.
Oh, something crawl in there and drown?
Man, you ain't lived till you tasted my granny's wild mushroom cap stew.
The scripts are really fleshing out human elements and relationships. It's not just good versus evil. There's much more taking place.
It actually connects episode to episode, and it actually connects through the whole season. So once you start watching the show, you really kind of have to watch the whole season to see how everything evolves, where the characters go and the story.
We actually spend a good number of episodes out of our first season going back even further than where our show begins to show you how and why these characters, even when we meet them, became who they are. And I think that's something that's never been done before in this universe.
I need to speak to you.
Our heroes must work as a team to stand a chance at clearing their names and getting Cobra.
Cobra is obviously the bad entity, and under that umbrella we have Cobra Commander.
He's psychotic, he's insane, he's delusional, he's violent, he's aggressive. He actually believes that it is possible to dominate the world and control people.
There's Baroness. She's pretty much Cobra Commander's right-hand woman.
When she has an assignment, her goal is to make that successful. And anyone who gets in her way will be terminated.
Dr. Mindbender is hired by Baroness to continually create really cool, innovative stuff to bring down the Joes.
No G.I. Joe would be complete without some serious tech.
I found Santa's sack in the spare tire well. And by Santa, I mean Mars Industries. So pick a sidearm and let's move.
If we could take our current military and jump it like 20, 25 years in the future, what would the weapons be? That's the approach we took with these weapons.
We have Mars Industries weaponry, which is pretty cutting edge. And we have Cobra technologies, and they've got their fingers into everything.
All the weaponry that you'll see has a very sleek, like modern look to it that eventually will become its own like design language as the Joes progress into becoming G.I. Joe and not renegades on the run.
Scarlett's special weapon is her crossbow, which you come to find out in the series, how each of the Joes sort of get their weapons.
As the Renegade's heavy weapons specialist, Roadblock fires the largest plasma pulse cannon.
And he likes to drive the Coyote, which was, I think, a stolen vehicle from Cobra.
The Baroness wears glasses that she sort of communicates with all the people that are working for her.
While the characters are familiar to fans, the show has a distinct artistic style.
For us, the overall look and feel of G.I. Joe Renegades was very important, And we really started with Renegades from a place of, we want there to be a light source in every scene. We want your eye to go where we want to send it, and then we want other things around the edges to not be so clear, because that's actually a bit of the overall message of the show. You think it's one thing, but around the edges, something else is going on. What that ended up taking us to was a very, very painterly background style that I don't think has ever been seen on television before. We then had to find a character design that would fit on top of that background style and work with it.
We actually went outside of animation, found a guy who's an amazing comic book illustrator, Clement Sauvé, and have him design some characters for us.
And he immediately got it. When I explained to him kind of what the inspiration was, he knew it, he got it, and he immediately went there.
And then we've taken his characters and made sure we've given them gear and color palettes that are not only traditional and fall in line with the color palettes of the characters in the past, but slightly different.
Even though the show is a 2D show, a lot of the vehicles are very difficult to animate over and over and over. So what we're doing is we're building those in 3D, and then we're using a toon shader to blend it into the 2D world that it will be inhabiting.
And we're always looking from a filmmaking standpoint, how can we create a shot that has depth and interest and composition, and it's not very flat? Because just like our characters and our storylines, nothing's flat in the show.
I'm really excited that they're actually bringing it back. It's such a fun, action-packed story that I loved, and I know that kids today are going to love it.
I think it is visually incredible to look at.
It's going to be really fun to want to know what happens week after week after week.
This show is going to be a monster.
I am extremely excited for G.I. Joe Renegades to be unleashed upon the world. Are you ready?
Open fire!
Ah!
Go! Bring back up!
Thanks for watching this week's Teletoon podcast.